surprised we'll drop it in the day before, the day of.
Tony, are you good?
30 seconds probably or less. All right, let's roll.
All right. I'd like to call tonight's meeting of the Manchester Community Schools Board of Trustees meeting to order. Stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do a roll call. Mr. Booker?
Here.
Mr. Firstos?
Here.
Mr. Penrod?
Here.
Mr. Brubaker?
Here.
Mr. Esposit's in Chicago. Mr. Hensley is not feeling well tonight. I am present. Additions and deletions, Mr.
Yeah, I would ask that we table 6.3 Costa Rica field trip. I've asked Mrs. Brubaker to come in July and present so you could hear some additional information on that proposed trip. Other than that, no other additions or deletions.
I ask that we, for a motion to accept the agenda with the proposed additions.
Make a motion to accept the change mentioned.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Penrod and Mr. Brubaker. Any discussion? All right. All in favor say yay. All opposed say no. Yay. All right, it's 5-0. Hearing of patrons.
I know it's been in the paper, but I wanted to remind the community that June the 20th at noon is the deadline to submit school board applications. They can be picked up at the Wabash County Clerk's office and require signatures of at least 10 registered voters living in our school district. 3 seats up for re-election, 1 in town, 1 in Chester Township, and 1 in Pleasant Township. A school board is tasked with making important decisions that can have substantial impact on our district and on our children. And that is why it is imperative that we have quality candidates. As an educator for 25 years, here are some of the characteristics that I feel make a great board member. They believe in the value of public education and its ability to lift people up. They value and trust the knowledge and experience that school employees bring to the table. They are actively growing their own knowledge as board members in order to be able to make more informed decisions. They set expectations for the board and hold each other accountable for their actions. They exercise transparency. They find ways to solicit feedback from stakeholders, including community members, families, Manchester Community School staff, and students. And finally, and most importantly, a great board member is one who works to provide the best education for all students and support the people who help to provide it. Our students and staff, as well as the community, deserve board members who represent us in a positive way and strive to help us move forward. Those with personal agendas or access to grind get in the way of our progress. We have a lot of great people in this community who would bring value to this board, and I emphatically ask you to consider running for one of the open seats. And if you don't want to run, but know someone who should, please find some time to encourage them to do so. Thank you.
For 6 months now, I've been asking this board to address the misconduct of one of its members. I was hopeful after speaking at the December meeting that the right actions would be taken. After the January meeting, I was a bit confused by the lack of action. By the February meeting, I began to suspect your strategy was simply to hope everyone would forget what had occurred. I continued to voice my concerns at the March, April, and May meetings, not because I thought you were listening, but to remind our community that you were not. It's now June, and it's plainly evident that this board lacks the courage to acknowledge and address the misconduct. I once respected many of the people on this board, but I certainly no longer do. Since this board has made it clear that they are too spineless to extend an apology to Mr. Wieland, I'd like to at least offer him my personal apology. Mr. Wieland, as you know, I was a member of this board when you were hired. I was aware of some of the inappropriate conduct displayed by certain members. I'm embarrassed by the childish and self-serving attitudes that you were subjected to. I had hoped that this type of behavior from our board would mellow over time, but I was wrong. It only got worse. I regret not doing more to address these problems while I was still on the board. I would like to publicly apologize to you for the unprofessional treatment you endured during your employment and for any distress that it may have caused to you and your family.
No presentations or recognitions, so straight to financial report.
Financial report.
Okay. All right, you're now familiar with the coding on this, so if you come down, again, green is good, red necessarily isn't, and yellow is pretty much neutral. So looking at month end in May, and just go down to the bottom. So we were projecting a negative 957. We actually came in at negative 907. That's a variance of $49,000, just short of $50,000 to the good. Now again, just remind everyone, negative in operations is because we do not receive our tax draw until sometime this month. So we're hoping this week. We've not gotten anything from the auditor yet, but normally it's around the 15th is when we receive that. So that'll be one of two tax draws. So once we receive that in June and July, we should be positive. Then we start going to the negative again, and we positive back when we get to the end of December. So overall, guesstimates were pretty good. Any questions on operations? Okay, going on to education fund. Again, same matrix. So again, coming down the bottom line, so we projected a positive balance of $1,042,000. We actually ended up at $1,167,000, so a plus variance of $124,000. So for the all the things that we had talked about 7, 8, 9, 10 months ago have come to fruition. Now, all of the ESSER employees that were on the ESSER 3 funds have now been rolled into rainy day. So we paid through operations or through education, but then we'll transfer out of rainy day to cover that. So that will be about $160,000. So rainy day will drop down to about $500,000. Once we get past those, which will be in the first pay in August, then we'll start rolling into the new salary schedule. I'm sorry, the new contracts. That's when we'll really test to see how close we guesstimated when it came to actual funding in education. Because again, we've had a lot of movement. We've had folks that have left employment voluntarily. We've had people that have retired. All that has been mixed in. So we're looking at about $917,000 in the red when we first started. Obviously, we're much better than that now. but until we really start seeing full payrolls going into the system, we'll get a much better handle on where we're at. But right now, we're sitting in much better shape than what I originally projected to do at.
Was May a 3-pay month, is that correct? No?
No, we don't have another 3-pay month until either November or December this year.
Okay.
So April was our 3. Or, I'm sorry, March. March. So any questions on education? Okay, next thing I'd like to talk about. So we've talked a lot about needing to replace student hardware, and we have submitted applications or RFPs to 4 different firms for equipment replacement. This is the best deal. Interest rates range anywhere from 9.9% down to -11. You know, that's kind of a misnomer, but the way they run the numbers. So what we're looking at is buying all new hardware for all students. So the first 2 years, we'll be making this amount of payment. So our hardware cost roughly just short of $600,000. So by doing this as a lease to own, we'll be looking at 2 years, full payments. When we get to year 3, then what we're doing is a third of those units will drop off. So it's a 3-year lease in a sense. So we're going 2, 3, and 4. So first 2 years for full pay. This year we drop off. This year we drop off, with the understanding that we'll have these 2 years left on the lease. The machines that are in the white on year 3, we can either keep, sell back, or keep a few for repair. But that year we'll apply new computers. So we'll buy a third of the fleet at that point. When we get to year 4, we'll buy another third. Year 5, another third. So basically, instead of buying a $600,000 all at one cost, once we get all out and we start doing this, it's going to be less than $200,000 a year every year thereafter, with a third of the machines being rolled every year. So does that make sense? It's simply a way of maintaining an even cash flow, being able to project, and not having this hammer that hits us every 4 or 5 years. Tony's done a magnificent job of putting all this together. Only thing I do is talk about the numbers. He actually did all the legwork. Tony, any questions or anything that I missed that? So, with your, go ahead.
What's the current year that we have the units now? Are they 3, 4 years old, or
5 and 6.
5 and 6? So even rotating them every 3 years,
Will be a huge.
we should stay ahead of
Yeah.
equipment failure.
Yeah. And what we're recommending is basically 1 generation behind brand new, most current. So far above what we have, but it's not best and greatest. It's tried and true equipment.
What equipment are you guys looking at?
So what we've selected is the Lenovo 500E Generation 4 unit. So it's basically, you know, the Chromebooks are almost a commodity more than anything. They're pretty much the same. You can get different sizes, more memory and things like that. So we tried to stay within the same price range as what we were before. We ended up with a unit that's about 4 times faster than what we're using now and has a much clearer display. And so that we're looking forward to that, give the students a better unit than what they have. In the long run, we're paying, by the time we wrap in a case, accidental device protection in the unit itself, we're paying about $6 more than what we did 5 years ago.
Repair contracts?
Yes.
Is that all built into the lease as well? The repair
Yes.
contracts?
Yep.
Okay.
Other questions?
What will happen with the current, will they take those back for the cash value?
So our
or-
previous leaser, we made arrangement for them. We have a $1 buyout that they will go back to them and be remarketed and resold, and then we'll get the proceeds of that back. So we may keep a few, as a matter of fact, we probably will, to seed our repair, spares, paraprofessionals, and a few others along the line. But the rest of them will go back and be remarketed, and we'll get the money from that. Now, I'd love to tell you we're gonna get $50 a unit. We're not. We're not. We'll be lucky to get, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe $20 a unit, but it's better than nothing. Other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, so
Hang on, Mr. Shaw had one.
Yeah, Tony, when the third year rolls around, if you're replacing the third of them, does that kind of tie into buying the same thing, or can you have different units in there at the same time?
It's going to boggle my mind how we get it all through, but no, since we're doing it one building, we'll be able to swap them all out for that building and move it on, yeah.
any other questions on tech at this point? So again, we had 4 quotes. Lenovo FMA is the most cost-effective. By the next bid was $3,000, next was $5,000, next was $16,000, and then $20,000-ish. So this is the recommendation is for us to order the Lenovo FMV with your approval. And I do need a motion, because if you approve, then we will cut this order tomorrow.
I'm motion.
Need a second? Okay, any discussion?
What's the timing if we approve of this, roughly, do you think?
It could be 3 to 4 weeks.
Quicker.
We're gonna be rushed.
Yeah.
So Friday, Saturday night, we'll have you guys in, putting cases on their labels and stuff like that.
I'll send my wife. All right, any other questions? All in favor, say yea. All opposed, say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Passed 5-0.
Okay, thank you. We'll work on that tomorrow. A couple things, and then I'll get into the meat of what I have. Summer help, if you recall, we picked up 6 graduates who are working on summer help. If you've been around the buildings, they have done a magnificent job in a very short amount of time. Landscaping is the main thing. Once they get the outside work done, they'll still do a little bit over the summer with trimming and whatever, and then they'll go back and redo the beds before school starts. But then they'll head back inside and start doing some painting and doing some internal repairs. So they've done a great job for a very short amount of time. And if you've not been around the building, please take a look. All the poles in the parking lots are getting sandblasted and repainted, and the football field goalposts. That should be finished next couple days. The flooring folks for the corridor are back. They have it all stripped down, and they started applying the new floor today. They're anticipating probably another week and a half, so they plan on being done before the 4th of July. But base coat down, didn't walk through it today, I just looked at it today. Significant difference between what was there and what is there now. And they still have the top coat to go. So just much better system than what they put down originally.
Is the cafeteria getting done as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have the serving area, the cafeteria, seating area, and the entire corridor.
Getting redone.
The only thing they're not doing right now is the prep area.
Okay.
And they don't have enough time, and there's a whole lot of stuff they have to move if they're going to do it. So we're debating on that one. So. Anything else? Okay, tonight my main thing is to start the process. This is technically a 1028 hearing, or the kickoff of it. We have talked a lot about raising funds to do some major renovations, repairs. I'm just going to go through a quick list just to, and these are height hour items. This is not at all inclusive, but just give you some ideas of what we're doing. Track resurfacing, tennis court resurfacing, gym floor screening, repaintment, sidewalk repairs, carpet replacement throughout the schools, pre-K playground and playground covering, bus replacement, varsity gym concession stand, Heartland roof, parking lot resurface, fencing around different complexes, replace student desks, remodel the STEM tech, or the industrial tech to STEM, safety measures throughout the school district. We need to replace, upgrade some boilers, land acquisition made possible, plumbing, and that's just a really quick list. That's 50,000 or above, and there's 3 other pages that go with that. So to fund all that, normally we would like to use Operation Fund. However, in all the wisdom at the state level, they have really truncated what you can use Operation for. As an example, everything in central office is an Operation Fund now. So Tony's salary, my salary, all the office staff is now an Operation Fund. We're not educators anymore. So when you start slicing off all the things that they tell you have to use Operation for, it doesn't leave a whole lot of funds left, especially when they capped how much funding you can raise in that account. There's just not a lot left to do large projects. So it almost forces you to do some sort of borrowing. So what we're recommending is a $2.8 to $3 million, and the reason that varies is because of what the interest rate is at the time bonds are sold. 3-year payback, so very short term. And the reason, I know when I presented last time, we were looking at a 5-year payback. The issue that we run into, and Hannah can explain this maybe a little better, is arbitrage. Arbitrage is a regulation IRS looks at that says, okay, if you borrow money as a public entity, you cannot hold that money for more than 3 years in your bank. Because what they won't want you to do is raising money and then earning interest off that money and not spending it. So you have to have whatever money you raise, you have to spend within 3 years. Well, if we were to do a 5-year borrow, obviously, you're going to end up doing projects for 3 years and paying 2 more years when you can't do any projects. So instead of doing a $5 million combination of GO bond and first mortgage, my recommendation after dealing with financial folks, and they're here tonight, is doing just a first mortgage bond at $3 million. Be the same rate, be about 9 cents on the tax rate, bring a rate up to $1, $1.01, depending on what assessed value does. We would then pay it off in December 27. In fall of 27, we would do this again and raise another $3 million. So over a 6-year time period, we'd have $6 million to do renovations, repairs, improvements. So as that is the groundwork, I have Hannah come up. Hannah is with that's one I was going to mess up. I've worked with their organization for 22 years now. Jeff Quackenbush is my main contact. So Hannah kind of explain what the 1028 is, and then she'll introduce the rest of the financial team. So. Hannah Clendarian, by the way. I should have pronounced her last name, I'm sorry.
Good evening, everyone. So I think we sort of covered the basics, and I'll let Baker Tilly get into more details about the financial information, but as far as just the legal process goes, so the school board is required to do 2 public hearings prior to the adoption of a preliminary determination to issue these bonds. So this is the first of those. After we give these presentations, we'll ask the board to make a motion to open the public hearing, invite the public to have any comments. If none, or however many there are, we then close the public hearing. I believe it's scheduled for next week, a special meeting. Do the same thing, we'll do the second one. At the close of that public hearing, we would then ask the board to adopt a resolution making that preliminary determination to issue the bonds. We're moving a little quicker on this project than sometimes we do, so then the next set of approvals would be, I think we're targeting the July meeting. That would be when you approve preliminarily the form of lease agreement that would help fund these bonds, and then you would come back in August, confirm that form of lease, execute the lease, hold a public hearing prior to that for the lease and the additional appropriation to be made, And then after that, it's kind of out of your guys' hands for a little bit until we regroup for the sale and for closing and things. And I think we're targeting late October for that, is that, yeah. So, happy to answer any questions about those logistics. Otherwise, I'm going to hand it over to the Baker Tilly folks to dive into the details. Thank you.
My name is Joey Carnes with Baker Tilly, and with me is Jay Staley, and I'm just going to walk through the financial parameters, maximums, estimates for this upcoming bond issue, and I know you've seen a lot of this before, so I'm just going to walk through it. Slide 3 is the picture of the school's outstanding debt. As you see here in 2024, up to about almost $3 million, and the debt payments are starting to fall off, so that just kind of signals the school there's a lot of flexibility coming up. Moving forward to slide 5. Walking through the maximum borrowing amount would be $3 million. The assumed repayment term, as Jeff mentioned, is 3 years of repayment. Estimated total interest expense of $360,000, and that's assuming 6% interest rates. If they were to sell today, that'd be closer to 4.2, 4.3%. So just to give an idea of the amount of cushion we built in, just building conservative estimates come time for the sale. The maximum annual payment would be $1.2 million. And then the estimated incremental tax rate impact that Jeff mentioned is just 9 cents. And again, this is going to be dependent on how NAP comes in, operating costs, and how. But that again will be more in line with the total tax rate of closer to 2021. So the school corporation has a tax rate in this ballpark, so nothing new. We're assuming a bond sale in October, closing in October, and estimated annual interest rate on this again about 6%. So moving forward, slide 6. Just a picture of what the debt picture would look like with assuming this bond issue, and along with working with Jeff, just an illustrative annual bus purchase built in. So just to get an idea of what the picture looks like. And then slide 7. This is just get the data behind those numbers if you were to look into it. So estimated payments, assuming that illustrative annual bus purchase of about $3 million. 25 to 27, and then again the payments drop off, building future flexibility for the school corporation. Slide 8, the illustrative taxpayer impact. Just running through this, the average home value in the school corporation was $97,000 roughly, and with this 9-cent impact, an annual tax impact of that will be roughly $31. And some supplemental information here on slide 10, we just added the data behind the agency debt and all the debt obligations paid out in that service fund. So that's all we got. And thank you.
And Tony, if you want to keep that up, so this is the illustrative of what the impact would be, and you can see houses or property everywhere from 50 up to 250,000. And again, just that's the initial year as assessed values go up, assuming they go up.
Yep.
This would be
First year at the beginning of 2025.
Yep. And then each year as the assessed value goes up, then this may drop off a little bit depending on what the values actually become.
Yep. And we assume no asset value growth in this, so as values increase, that number.
As a district, do you know if tax caps will come into play much with that rate? I mean,
so this is assuming no taxpayers are at their tax cap. The school corporation isn't too bad with tax cap, so we're assuming it's going to kind of stay in line with what it currently is, and probably close to the 2021 levels, assuming that tax rate was pretty similar. Might actually come in a little bit lower than that. So. Thank you for your time.
Any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. And next step?
Yes, so now we would just ask that the board make a motion to open the public hearing.
So basically just 1020 hearing is open.
So I
make a motion to open the public hearing.
Do I have a second? Okay, so Mr. Penrod motioned and Mr. Brubaker seconded. All in favor say yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
All right, is there anybody who would like to address the board regarding the presentation?
Jeff Huber for MBA. I just wanted to say that teachers really support this, and these are all projects I think the communities know we all need to do, and that this is a great way to do it. And I just want to make sure people understood, if I heard right, it's basically the tax rate we had in 2020, 2021. I mean, it's not really asking a lot more, so anybody at home who's worried about it, this is a great way for us to take care of a lot of projects that we need. None of this is splashy things. These are all things that paint and brick and mortar stuff that we need. So, thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other comments from the audience? Make a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Booker and Mr. Fierstos, take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
All right, the last thing I have, just for information, we sent out requests for proposals, if you will, for property casualty insurance. We had 3 that responded. One refused to submit a quote. The other quote was about $50,000 above what we are currently paying with EMC. EMC came in, and with the corridor, we took out builder's risk insurance, which we had to do. So adding the corridor was about a $2,000 increase over last year's rate with builder's risk embedded in that. So actually a very, very good quote. There are some adjustments because insurance companies are now very, very concerned with weather damage. So they are looking at specifics on roofs and age of roofs. So we have one roof, if it suffers hail or wind damage, the deduct is $75,000. We have a couple roofs that deduct would be $50,000. But other than that, everything else is the same, and that is not unusual in the marketplace right now. Obviously, you just have to look at different disasters that occurred across the country, and roofs are subject to a lot of wear and tear. So anyway, we renewed. Great quote. We appreciate EMC stepping up to the plate. So.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, anything else?
Perfect.
Did I miss anything?
You want to stay up here?
Been there, done it.
All right, consent items.
We have claims and minutes, and then on resignations, we have 4 resignations. Josie Philippi as RISE teacher, Scott McAlpine as part-time cook, Ashton Bradford Johnson, junior high 7th grade study hall paraprofessional, and Dennis Powell, assistant softball coach. There were no grants, and then donations. I think somebody's going to read those.
Mr. Fierstos.
Yeah, you ready? So we have $100 to MIS for grit from Alan Feeds. We have $8,001 to Manchester Junior Senior High School for CNC equipment from Custom Magnetics. $400 to MES, funding for the service they provide to the community, Tri Kappa. We have $200 donated to Manchester Junior Senior High School for the track program in memory of Diana Showalter for various donors. $300 to Manchester Junior Senior High School, $100 to the art department, $100 to the theater department, and $100 to the health and wellness program, donated from Gamma Kappa chapter of Tri Kappa. We have $500 to Manchester Junior Senior High School Engineering and Technology Department from an anonymous donor. $100 to Manchester Junior Senior High School for the FFA program, another anonymous donor. $150, Manchester Junior Senior High School I just read that. Oh, no, I didn't, I'm sorry. FFA program from CFC Distributors. $805 to Manchester Junior Senior High School to the boys basketball program in memory of Mr. Bill Winger from various donors. We have $15,000 to Manchester Community Schools for the academic year of 24 and 25 from Ford Meterbox. $100 to Manchester Junior Senior High School for the end of year celebration donated through the Community Foundation of Wabash County. $100 to Manchester Junior Senior High School football program from Judy Lauer. And $1,546 to Manchester Junior Senior High School football program from North Manchester Moose 1518. And they all total $27,302. So thank you so very, very much to all our donors.
Thank you.
No facility rentals on the agenda, so.
Okay. So,
Consent.
like a motion to approve the consent items?
I'll make a motion to approve consent items.
Second? Okay, I got Mr. Booker and Mr. Brubaker. I have a vote to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, next under recommendations for approval, employment. You have James Ely, second grade DLI English teacher. Brooklyn Wilson, MES Rise teacher K-6. Emily Penrod, MES second grade teacher. Carrie Sauter, MES grade level lead teacher. Katie Gans, MES one-to-one paraprofessional. And Mr. Brian Inyart, Manchester Junior Senior High varsity head football coach.
Before I ask, would you like to separate out your wife?
I'm just going to abstain from voting.
Okay. Motion to approve the
I'll make
employment.
a motion to approve.
Any seconds? Good.
Before we approve. Just congratulations to all the new hirees. And we have one sitting out in the audience. So welcome Mr. Inyart and his family to the athletic department. And it's been a long time coming, so congratulations, and we wish you the best.
Well, let's take care of that.
I'll take the
Good.
time and approving the ability and the trust you guys give me and my staff to coach these young kids the game of football and to teach them about using the game of football, teach them about life and kicking out good young men to better the community. So we're excited to get it started. We kind of got to hit it running pretty quick. So we've got a lot of good turnout and it's an excitement program going. A lot of good things going. So appreciate your time.
Well, we all know the key to a successful coach is a great wife and family at home, right?
And I wouldn't have done it if I didn't get the okay from there.
All right, so I'm going to do a roll call vote. Mr. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Fierstos?
Yes.
Mr. Penrod?
Abstain.
Mr. Brubaker?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So the vote is
Congratulations.
4-0 and 1. All right, retirement.
Yeah, retirement, we have retirement of Elaine Metzger, junior senior high cook.
Do we want to do the rest of these or want to do?
Yeah, we can do them.
We're going to go ahead and do the
Yeah.
rest of these before we
Okay.
take another vote.
Overnight cheerleading camp, July 9th through 11th, Purdue University. A reduction in force of the Squire Academy Director as presented. The Food to School Purchasing Cooperative Contract, which is, a large food purchasing agreement you guys approve every year. And then also the appointment of Mackenzie Coulter Kern to the Public Library Board to replace Vicki Smith, who can no longer serve on the board.
Motion to approve the remaining recommendations for approval.
Make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Penrod, and a second.
Second.
Mr. Fierstos, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Okay. Discussion, information. Mr. Booker, do you have a Heartland update?
I do. So a couple of things. They started an adult course. This is starting this June. We have 4 CDL course, adult CDL, through June 21st. Let's see, some other things. Some numbers that happened this year. We had 448 students earn 4,720 college credits. We had over 350 students earn an industry recognized certification, and over 100 students involved in student organizations. 41 students qualified for state competitions. 10 students of those qualified went on to national competition, and 61 students earned National Technical Honor Society memberships. So just some end of the year. We had a wonderful celebration at the Honeywell Center. I think that was the latter part of, well, it was before graduation. And it was a packed house as usual, and they only did seniors this year. So last year they did seniors and juniors. So it was still packed with seniors, and it was a great evening. So congratulations to all those students, and looking forward to next year.
Excellent. Mr. Penrod, legislative update?
Fairly quiet, unless there's some laws that go into effect July 1, if they haven't already went into effect, so no new laws.
Okay. Mr. Castle, you have a superintendent comment?
Yeah, not a lot. Actually, Jeff stole on my thunder. I was going to talk just about a lot of the projects, but it's been good, working side by side with him to just to improve, things here at Manchester, especially facility-wise, things that have needed attention. Definitely appreciate Jody Sarber has been working with the students that we, are doing the hard work out there, sweating every day outside my window. I went out and asked them if they regretted saying yes, and their chuckle told me probably in that moment, yes, they did, because it was a hot day and they were raking and shoveling dirt and stone. But it looks really good. Obviously the school year is over. Graduation went very well. I complimented both Gwen Mize and Mr. Zinsmeister on how they conduct graduation. Honestly, one of the best I've seen as far as organization. We had some bumps there that kind of took us into that final day, but it went out without a hitch, and had really good support. Other than that, it's just plugging through the summer and tackling and getting things ready for August 5th and 6th and 7th, because it's going to roll around a whole lot quicker than we know, and we'll be off and running. So I think we're staffed up with teachers that have left or taken other positions. I think we're fully staffed up, and so that's a good thing, and ready to get moving into next school year.
Okay, thank you. Any school board comments?
I just wanted to acknowledge some of the athletic teams had a very competitive spring season for many of the teams.
Yes.
Baseball team winning conference that they haven't in for many years. The girls tennis won conference again and sectional, and the girls boys track team had many regional qualifiers and some sectional first places. So fun to watch them this spring. It went fast. Got a lot of the events in amongst the rain that we had, but yeah, congratulations to all those athletes.
I want to share that the Honeywell Center has hosted for several years now youth theater and also a art camp for the younger kids and older kids, I guess. My 5-year-old was down there for the art camp that was last week, all week for 3 hours a day, and then my 9-year-old is down there and actually performing her first musical tomorrow at Honeywell, and then the senior high and junior high go through next week for their performance. They're doing Anastasia. Youth theater's been around a long time, and there's a lot of Manchester kids that have been involved with that summer youth theater program and art program, so we're grateful for that.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mr. Castle and everyone involved in handling the tough situation at the end of the school year. Thank you for keeping us informed and just being proactive as much as it stinks that we had to do what we had to do. Better safe than sorry. So I thought that was very well handled, so thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yep. I think you handled that very admirably, and sorry I had to miss graduation, but barn full of pigs sometimes takes your priority.
Right.
So with that, if there's no other comments, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Let's get out of here.